5-minute prologue, we would make an amazing 50-hour TV show.
There's a lot of laughs on set.
Acting in something is lovely.
I want to first ask all three of you this. It's on OTT, but the scale is huge. You know, it's mounted on such a huge scale. The visuals are so stunning, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it on the big screen. Do you feel that, you know, it gets a little limited when you're creating such a huge show on OTT? Because a lot of people consume this on tabs, on mobile phones. So do you feel that?
Well, Middle-earth is vast, and we feel like it deserves to be realized at the vastest scale we can. So we hope people are able to see it, you know, in the most spectacular way possible. And for some people, that might be their phone, and for other people, it might be a really big, you know, in-home theater or whatever. You know, we are very proud of the people we've worked with that have been able to realize this on such a grand fashion.
Right. Is there any kind of pressure attached when you guys are part of something so historic and something so, you know, it's a legacy franchise? Is there any pressure at all?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah,
For
but you know,
actors?
it's pressure is what makes a diamond. You know, so we take the pressure as a positive thing. That's good.
I mean, I think acting in something is lovely because you just get to show up and do what you're there to do, which is portray a character as truthfully as possible, and then leave the semantics to kind of the other powers that be. But I think that I try not to think about the outside noise and external pressure. It's more just the pressure that I put myself to do as best job as I can do and really do the character justice. That's the focus.
I thoroughly enjoyed first season, especially the scenes which involved the two of you. I thought it was a great friendship that, you know,
Thank you.
came out so organic. It looked very organic. But I also know that the show itself, the story, it's very intense. So how do you guys like break out from it? Because I'm sure it was a grueling schedule, and what was it like? Because as actors, you're performing something and a character, and it's tough. How do you unwind or break out from it?
I mean, there's a lot of laughs on set. We do have a very good time. Lots of games being played in the cast tent when the setups are, you know. But also what's lovely is that the crews that we have the fortune of working with are so wonderful too. And the atmosphere that they bring to the set really allows for comfort and a very open and safe space. And if anything, they are the people, for me anyway, that sort of help bring me out. And I also enjoy leaving my work on the set and the scenes that I do, and then I actually prefer to just completely go back to Megan in between takes, or, you know, just so I can rest, have a little break. But also it's really interesting. I think there's something, especially when you do those sort of more intense scenes, there is a level of trauma that your body does naturally feel. I think that's an actual thing. And so, for example, in the second episode, in the sandstorm, whenever I watch it, I've watched it a few times now, my body has a reaction to, like, my breathing gets really fast and my heart pounds. And I think that's because my body can remember feeling and experiencing that whole thing. So it's quite interesting. I don't think it ever fully leaves you.
You want to add something on that?
No, I agree. I mean, I went to do ADR for the sandstorm, and I
was just thinking about that, literally.
And I really did. It did take me back to exactly that. And I think when we were filming, it was so realistic. They had sand, and we were on a wire, so we were very safe. But we still felt the kind of effects of what it might have been like. So, yeah, your body sometimes doesn't really register that it's fake.
But I want to know that, you know, how did it come to you, the legacy show, and how did it come to you, and how did you get to create it?
Patrick and I thought, well, you know, if you want to feel like Tolkien, it needs to feel like, you know, an epic that encompasses an entire age to a certain extent, and that encompasses the fate of Middle-earth and all these different groups, where it's elves and dwarves and halflings and humans and ents and wizards, and you know, as we looked around at what sort of, you know, part of the map felt you know, sort of ripe for exploration, we thought of the beginning of the Jackson films, where Cate Blanchett comes on and says, "It began with the forging of the great rings, and 3 were made for the elves, and 7 for the dwarves, and 9 for men who above all desire power. But they were all deceived because one ring was forged in the fires of Mount Doom by the Dark Lord Sauron." Anyway, I thought of this a couple times.
See it in your memory.
So we were like, that 5-minute prologue, we would make an amazing 50-hour TV show. You could go back to the Second Age when all those stories were being told and really build it out. And so we went in and pitched that, and the number of writers they were talking to went from this to this to this, and then finally there were only a few left. And then finally we got the phone call that they wanted us to do. Well, actually, first we went and met with the Tolkien estate and pitched it to the Tolkien estate, which was an amazing life experience. And then finally, we got the phone call, and it was a life-changing moment. I went and stood on top of my garage roof and kind of looked out at the sun and just sort of felt this moment of destiny that I knew my life would never be the same.
Is there a season 3 coming up?
Well, we are deep in the creative process of finding it, and that's kind of all I can say at this point. But right now, we're excited for people to see season 2. But yes, we're planning 50 hours.